following show features stupid opinions and ideas from two idiot brothers who probably did little research and practiced zero due diligence on the topic at hand. The MLO Bros opinions do not reflect the views of their employer, guests, sponsors, families, neighbors, or pets. If you do not like what they are saying and don't agree with their views or opinions, don't watch the show. We can promise we do not care. Welcome to the worst show on the internet.
Hey everybody! Who's that guy? Who's that good-looking young guy with you? It's
Hello, I'm Fred Schuster. I'm the sad producer of these two idiots. I apologize for all you people that watch this on a bi-weekly basis. I really feel bad.
Dad, this is a computer.
Oh, whoa.
It's a computer. Technology.
I really feel bad for you.
This is gonna go off the rails. So
Dad, this is a computer. That's your son, Luke.
It's like, hey, Luke, how's this phone work? Hello?
I want you all to know I was one of the first people to buy a computer for Youngstown. I went all the way to Columbus to buy it in 1985. It cost me $3,200.
Your first computer?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, $3,200.
Couldn't buy it in Youngstown.
In the 80s was $3,200?
1985. I bought it for your mother.
What is the price difference between that, like the time over time, like inflation? Like that's gotta be.
I'm sure that's 20 G's now.
Yeah.
And it didn't have as much bytes.
What type of computer was it?
It was an off brand. It wasn't
for
Apple.
$3,200. Yeah, so Apple was the brand because
Right.
Apple
Right.
they were the company that wanted to make a computer for the everyday house.
Yeah, I mean, you just couldn't get what I wanted in Youngstown, so I had to drive to Columbus.
Yeah. So before we get started, everybody, officially started, make sure to check out our sponsor down below, Valley Insurance. They're our sponsor of the month for the MLO Bros. Also, if you haven't already, check out the shirts we're selling.
Oh, geez.
Let's see. Where's the picture?
Hold on, we gotta advertise a little bit, Pop.
Yeah, we gotta advertise real quick.
We're broke.
You gotta pay the bills. Keep the lights on. So here's our shirt. Dad, do you want a Mill Creek Deer Call shirt? It's made of the same fabric that Shelby her dog walking service.
I like the one that has the both of them on the front and the back. The guy who suggested that was brilliant.
Both of them. So then,
that's a good.
If you don't want a Mill Creek Deer Call shirt, and you're saying that's disgusting, I want to sell you this shirt. This is our other option for you, Dad. Other option. My other pet is a Mill Creek Deer. Yeah. Would you wear that? That's the same color shirt as the Marshall's Marvelous Pet Service shirts.
I would love. It'd be great if you had one on one side, one on the other.
Just separate. Just one on one side, one completely, just front and back.
Yeah, I guarantee you sell a lot.
That'd be cool. And if you want one of those shirts, $20. Just Venmo us. Also, we have these shirts for sale too. Hold on. Do you have one of the red ones yet, Dad?
Yeah, I got it. I like the red ones.
Okay, so we have the red ones.
This is ridiculous.
We'll be making a post tomorrow. We have the red shirts for sale too. These are also $20.
This is like selling out. This is totally. Yeah.
You want an MLO Bros? Listen. If you appreciate the MLO Bros and you like this type of content, then this is the best way you can support the MLO Bros, and we can keep doing what we're doing. So these shirts are for sale too. I'm actually having Shelby model these, and she will be posting a picture tomorrow.
Well, if you wear those shirts to a game at Poland when I go see my grandchildren, you'll have people look at you. And you have to decide if they like you or hate you.
75% of the people like us in Poland. I would say. I think that's fair.
All right. So after all of our advertising stuff,
can I start this off? I have a question for everybody watching and you guys. What in everybody's mind watching and you two is considered elderly?
What age do you consider elderly?
What do I consider elderly? Pop, are you elderly?
I'd say when you retire, 65 and up.
65?
Yeah, it's really a state of mind, you know.
What's the senior discount in a restaurant? 65?
Yeah, well, it depends on what restaurant. Some are different.
Did you know in a court? Did you know in a court of law, Isaac? Did you know this?
Okay.
If I was to assault or
Okay.
rip off financially somebody over the age of 65.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your felony count goes from like a 4, it gets knocked up to like a 4, from a 4 to a 3.
That's what that guy happening to
So
the guy.
they don't
Yep.
like you messing with old people.
Right.
Right. I learned that when you were so if I was to steal money off a pop,
Yeah.
my felony count would go up because he's over.
Well, that's what my buddy Mr. Hughes is doing.
Oh, your lawsuit.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to talk about that on?
I don't know.
All right, Pop, we have our first question to you. Pops, why don't your kids like senior citizens?
I don't know.
Hey, for you, Tony, I'm gonna hug an old person.
Go ahead, hug them. There we go.
Oh, this is from Tony.
I don't think Isaac. I don't think we don't like. I don't think we don't like. We don't like elderly. We don't like young people. We don't like middle-aged people equally.
Get out of here.
It's stupid people we don't like. Is that fair?
Yeah, and people, Dad. Before let's just start this. We brought you on here because you're old. Let's get that.
I have a comment on. I have a lot of comments.
Let's just get everything out.
I have a lot of comments.
You are currently representing everyone over the age of 65.
Good.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay. Everybody, while you're watching, go down below and give us a like. There's 37 people in here. We have 3 likes right now. Give us a heart. Give us an angry face. If you're old, give us a thumbs down so we know that you're old.
I don't think you can
do
do
how many old people.
Can I address the one thing I read on Facebook that you guys put on there?
Sure.
About traffic circles.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay. What do you do? What do you do? When you're in a traffic circle, go ahead. Come on.
That has nothing to do with age. When I come to that traffic circle on Western Reserve, most of the people that don't know what they're doing are young people. I drove traffic circles probably 15, 20 years ago in Europe where they're all over. I get to that Western Reserve and I see these people stopping. It doesn't say stop. It says yield. What does yield mean?
So the problem is when there's I'm not saying every time I approach a traffic circle that an old person is sitting and doesn't go through the traffic circle. But every single time that I'm behind somebody and they stop at a traffic circle, I get up behind them and they're an old person or they have a handicap sticker in the back. So I'm not saying that there aren't old people that don't know how to navigate it, but every single time I've been behind somebody and they literally, there's a yield sign and they stop and look both ways.
Well, they're stupid.
They do, it's like, and then I just lay on the horn until they leave the traffic circle because I'm like, you don't know what you're doing. For those people watching that don't know how to navigate what a yield sign means, when you get on the highway, you slow down? No. When you get on the highway, unless you absolutely have to, you do not slow down. You go. You enter the highway. The traffic circle rule is exactly the same thing. You do not stop. You do not slow down unless you have to just to go around the turn. You don't stop and look both ways. You go.
Ohio law says you ease yourself into a on-ramp on the turnpike or any expressway. Yeah. That doesn't mean you could, if you're coming off the ramp from a road that's 55 miles an hour, you go 55 miles an hour up that ramp. You merge into that.
Yeah, traffic. But when you merge into the highway, you look to see if anybody's in your rear view mirror, if anybody's coming. If not, you just go.
Right, absolutely.
This is legitimately every Saturday or Sunday night with us. Sorry.
But it's the same thing as a traffic circle. That's all I'm trying to say.
The one thing
people don't get it.
One thing that has, remember, Luke, we talked about this when they put the traffic circle on Matthews Road, and everybody in the world was screaming and yelling, why are you putting a traffic circle on Matthews Road? That now you hear more and more people say, give me a traffic circle because it was dangerous.
Because it's more efficient.
Well, that's why Europe had it 20 years ago.
So when you were little, Dad, were there ever traffic circles?
Not here in Canada.
Yeah, no, they never had traffic circles. It was all lights. Right. And that's why old people usually aren't good at that because they don't have any experience in it.
Well, the best traffic circle I ever drove in was in France, Paris. The Arc de Triomphe, 6 lanes with 5 different entrances, and you had to go back and forth, and the traffic flowed like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What other things? Does anybody have any questions about for our father? He's 65, willing to answer questions.
I have one.
Dad,
Testing.
Dad, are you a big fan of Werther's Originals?
Who's?
You know those caramel
Oh
candies?
yeah, Snyder used to give you those
Yeah.
all the time.
So at what age do you really start liking those?
I never liked. I still don't like.
You don't like them? What kind of old guy doesn't like Werther's Originals?
Pop. Socks and ankle socks and sandals. You wear those.
I don't have sandals.
Oh no, I got one. I got one.
I can't wear sandals.
What are the New Balance? New Balance?
Dad,
Oh, I just got a pair of New
You just got a fresh pair.
the other day.
Fresh pair of whites.
You know why
Dad.
I buy those? I've had every kind of what do you call it?
Yeah.
Every kind in the world. New Balance puts enough comfort into their shoes that when you step into it, you feel like you're stepping on.
I've heard so many interesting things about that. Like usually old guys don't care about brands.
I don't.
But you gotta give props to New Balance for for convincing an entire generation of old men that like this is the shoe you gotta wear. You know what I mean? Like there's no competition for New Balance. Every single dad has a pair of white New Balance.
Well, I got a pair of brown New Balance. They only
Isaac, I admit something. I went to Second Soul today. And I bought New Balances.
Yeah, he got New Balance.
Well, are they?
I saw the box. So I knew what they were.
Are they like the dad New Balances?
No, they're blue. They're like blue.
Yeah,
and blue.
no, there's some nice New Balances,
Yeah.
but Dad. So, like, at what age did you get your first pair of like those white classic New Balances?
Oh my God, I was a young kid.
He's had them
Not
forever.
New Balance. Not New Balance.
No, New
I
Balance.
was probably 35.
So, like, you walk in when you're 35, and this guy's like, "Listen, sir, I got the shoe for you."
No, that's not what it. That's not what I bought.
Okay.
I bought it for the
How old are you?
One
I'm
day.
right this way.
I have the shoe for you. And then at what age was it like I'm gonna have this pair of New Balances that's for cutting the grass, and then this exact pair for walking in, and then this exact pair?
Oh, I don't do that.
You used to do that.
No, I used to buy a pair of New Balances, and when they were so destroyed, I just wore it for cutting.
You just wore them for cutting the grass. Yeah. And then he like busts out the new pair.
Yeah. Well, I have a pair of Nikes that I wore to the brink of destruction, and so that's why I bought the New Balance, because they're soft.
Pop, do you write checks when you go to the store?
No, I haven't written a check in God.
You card?
I only write a check. Like I wrote one the other day, but the guy who came to take a camera picture of my ground spot wanted a check. He didn't have Venmo or anything like that.
Oh, you use Venmo?
Yeah, he's
Pop. I'll tell you what. For a 70-year-old, Pop does a lot of.
He's good with the technology.
He really.
I pay everything through Quicken online. I very rarely. And the reason I use Quicken is because tax purposes. At the end of the year, I can print it all out.
Dad, have you ever bought a pair of shoes with Velcro yet?
No.
Do you plan to?
No, I can't. I'm diabetic.
You're not supposed to wear Velcro shoes if you're diabetic? No. Why not?
Because they don't give you enough ankle support.
Yeah,
okay. Wow. Learn something new.
Ian's had my dad at Old People. He's willing to watch it tonight. I wear New Balance. I got 2 pairs from Tracy.
Good man, Tracy.
2 pairs. 2 pairs.
Pop.
One for going out and one for lounging around.
Which son would you rather go out drinking with?
Tracy, New Balances are so comfortable because they put a lot of padding in it. They're comfortable.
Yeah. Dad, when I
which son would you rather go out drinking with it?
You don't really drink.
Which son would you rather go out drinking with?
You don't really drink though, Pop.
No, I don't drink.
If
you give me a good Black Russian, I'll drink with them. But
he drinks Black Russians, which is Kahlua and vodka, right?
Yeah, right.
They'll get you drunk. And then he also he liked Mike's Hard Lemonade when they first came out.
Yeah, I did like it.
And then he also likes on the 4th of July, Brent and I were making you his iced tea.
Oh yeah, that was good.
His iced tea with peach crown in it.
Yeah,
is what we were doing for you.
I like certain white wines, but I don't like red wines that much.
Somebody had a really good question. Hold on. Where was it? I saw it.
I like going out drinking with both of my sons. I've done it.
Yep. Where did that one question go? Somebody had one about like advice.
Oh, here's one. Paulie. Pop.
Here's a good one.
What
Pop.
wisdom would you like to pass down onto your children? Because one day down the road, they will be elderly themselves.
I've passed the bet. I've told all of them, and I've told all the salespeople I've hired in my life. If you go through life and you don't have 50% of the people hating you, you haven't done a thing in life.
Well,
you were a waste.
Well, we're checking that box.
That's my number one philosophy. If you go through life and no one hates you, you haven't done squat.
Well, we are definitely doing a good job there, Isaac.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
I think all the Schuster kids.
The other thing you used to say too, Dad, is like, you always used to preach too. I remember, like, there are people that will like act like they support you to your face, and then they will knife you in the back. So always be careful. You always said that because there are people who will like support you, say they support you, and then when you're in front of a group of people, they will not.
You only have, in my opinion, you only have about 5 to 6 true friends in your life, and that's all that I've had. I have a friend that I've known since I was 5 years old in Colorado, and we still talk all the time, at least once or twice a month.
Dad, Mike Seville is saying, you need a different old person to represent old people. Fred is too cool.
There you go.
He's not your typical old guy.
Which is your least favorite, Luke or Isaac?
Listen, I'm going to take this one right now. I just want you to know. Dad, you don't have to say anything. I am definitely his favorite.
As I told all of them, they're all equally favorite.
Listen.
They all have their good parts. And they have
Isaac, let's say, who does Pop like the most? The girls.
Who do you like the most? The girls, yeah. And here, listen, everybody. If you don't know, he is actually off the boat. He is an immigrant from Germany. What part of Germany are you from again? Transylvania?
No, Bavaria.
Bavaria, but our family's from Transylvania. They left right after, in the 50s, right after World War II. Start of the Cold War, going into the Cold War. But listen, he's a German from, right after World War II. Look at me. Look at Luke. I'm much more Aryan looking. It's in his blood to like me more.
My grandmother, who was from Transylvania, this is a very derogatory comment. Oma. She was my grandmother, and it was Luke's great grandmother. When she held Luke the first time, she said he's a gypsy, and gypsies are considered the low in Europe.
What would your relatives be thinking about your new niece and nephew, or your new granddaughter and grandson, the half Venezuelans?
I don't think my dad was against me marrying your mother. So if he was against me marrying your mother, then he ended up telling you don't marry Italians. They're scum of the And then he ended up loving her, and I couldn't even yell at her, and he'd yell at me. So he would have accepted Ramon.
Yeah. What do you love me?
Oh, they would. Oma would have went crazy over you.
And they would have loved the Aryan boy.
Yeah. Did Pops marry his high school girlfriend crush, Mike Firmstone?
Yes, I did.
Tell us the story about how you met Mom.
My dear wife was a freshman walking down Berkey Road.
And you were a junior?
I was a junior, and I was driving in the car with my
at Austintown Fitch, right?
Austintown Fitch, and I was driving down the road. I wasn't driving; my buddy was driving. I was sitting, and I saw her walking down the road, and I yelled out the window, "You better watch out, freshman! I'm going to get you." Nowadays, I would have been charged with assault.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in the other story. You said something about her butt.
Yeah, well,
may or may not have said something about her butt.
I said that after I took her out.
Oh, okay. They wrote a song about you.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? We don't want no scrub.
No,
sitting in the passenger side of your best friend's ride, trying to holler at me.
And then you followed her off to Ohio State, right?
That's what she says. That's not what I say.
You didn't follow her to Ohio State?
I followed her, but it wasn't because of her. It was either I was getting ready to go to California, and then I met her again. There were like 2.5, 3 years that I didn't see her. And she ended up moving down to the end of the road on the same street I lived, and I saw her walking, and that's when I saw her butt.
Nice.
Mike Firmstead just said, my man Cat called himself into a marriage.
Right. keep catcalling, guys. Sometimes it works. Two out of three times.
Molly Brady says, "Hats off to you raising such wonderful children who will carry on your legacy." Oh, aren't we ever, Pop?
Yeah, I have to say they are, as much as I hate it.
Pop, are you proud of your kids?
Yes, oh, absolutely, all of them. Even Patty.
And
Wow.
see, if you have to say even Patty, you know there's something going on there.
Patty's just different, that's all.
Even Patty. He said
different.
even Patty.
Hey, Patty, do you hear that? Do you hear that, Patty?
Oh, she's watching.
You hear that?
She's watching.
She's like unbelievable. Right?
Hey, let me give you a story about my dear Patty, who I love.
Let's do it, Dad.
All right, so she was driving to school and pulled into the parking lot, come flying around into the parking lot, hit the back end of a truck, okay? And Isaac called me up and said, Patty just ran into the back end of a truck. And when I get there, no Isaac. And later on, Isaac said to me, I said, where were you? Where'd you go? He said, I wasn't staying around to listen to you yell at Patty.
Yeah,
She's thinking meant to hit the brake, and she hit the gas and ran into the back of the truck. I get out of the car, and she's like, you're not going to stay with me? I'm like, I'm not going to be around when Dad gets here. You're going to watch inside. Are you kidding? I'm not going to stay here. That's insane.
Oh, my God.
Good luck. See you later.
Oh, let's see here.
Now, here's the story about Luke, everybody. Luke graduated from Westminster, okay? And I'm sitting in the front, maybe a row back from all the the president and everybody else. And Luke walks up to get his diploma, and I yell out, "Thank God!" And they all clap.
Yeah, I squeaked that one out.
Oh, Dad, here's a question about growing up in Austintown. Johanna says, Pops, was Austintown more rural a few decades ago? What was it like?
Yeah, it was already starting to build up. The only part that wasn't built up is the past what's that street called? Right around Route 11. If you went past Route 11 heading west, that area was
Mahoning down there.
Yeah, Mahoning Avenue. If you head past Route 11, that wasn't built.
You mean towards Jackson Mills?
Yeah, that part wasn't.
So if you cross over, which is totally built up.
Yeah, it's built.
There's like a giant over where there's a giant eagle. There's
that's been built plaza. That's been built up in the last 30 years.
Let me tell you where they get their craziness. They were building 80 West out of Girard, and my buddies and I went around the barriers on Route 46 on 80 West.
Okay.
And we went flying down with no cars were on. It was, closed supposedly.
Yeah.
And we went flying down around the barriers, and we all of a sudden someone yelled. There were like 5 of us. Someone yelled, "Stop!" And we stopped, and one of them was sitting on the front of the hood of the car, and there was no bridge there, and it dropped off right into Lake Meander.
Oh, so you almost went into the Meander Reservoir
because there were no barriers.
Was Meander a reservoir then, or was it just a lake?
Meander was built in 1930s.
Did you ever fish in Lake Meander, Pop? Did you ever walk over there? You had to.
Well, here's what we used to do. We used to go carp fishing, and how we did it was we'd go at night and we'd take broom handles, brooms that were soaked in kerosene, and you'd go up to the shoreline and you'd light them, and the carp would come towards the light. And I'm not going to go past that. Which how you've caught
you catch them?
Yeah,
no kidding.
Yeah, beat them.
You
were
beat
they
them.
Huge?
Yeah.
They had to
Were
be
they
huge,
big?
right?
Yeah, they're huge.
What were you in Austintown? What were you doing for fun when you were in high school? What did you do? Where'd you go? Was Wedgwood there?
Wedgwood was there. I lived right up the street from Wedgwood Bowling Alley. I worked at Remedio's Value King. So I didn't play sports. I worked. I started working when I was 15 in a grocery store. But Wedgwood Bowling Alley was where you went. They had a pinball machine. Hey, we got to go to that place, Luke. Pinball machines.
Okay.
And pool tables, and you'd go down there, and there was a dance hall down there. One of the things that's really lacking with young people today is you could go on a Friday night and a Saturday night anywhere in the greater Youngstown Warren area and go to a place that had a band playing, and a live band, not a DJ, a live band. So
Dad, why don't you tell the people why Luke calls you Pop? Luke and Leanna call you Pop, but me and Patty call you Dad. Why is that?
You tell him it's a good story.
No, I don't know it. You
don't know it?
I know it.
Oh, yeah, you were little.
Well,
Luke and Leanna called me Pop and Mom, and then Isaac came along.
Wait, hold on. There's for those that don't know, there's a 10-year gap between Leanna and Patty. So there's Luke, Leanna, 10 years, Patty, and me. So there's like first and second generation
family.
So
when Isaac was little, and I would always yell at Luke and yell at him, tell him to go to the corner or something. Or when he was 13, he just yell at him. And Isaac came up to me one day and said, "I'm not calling you Pop. I'm calling you Daddy, because when you yell at Luke, you're Pop, and when you yell at me, you're not Pop. You're Daddy, and you're nice."
Yeah, dads are nice. Pops are mean.
Yeah,
I ruined the name Pop.
Yeah. Yep. You totally did.
I did. I totally did.
Now let's address the question that I saw on your site about old people taking car tests again.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
that's a good one. Yeah.
What age?
Let me reset the things real fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I made a post the other day after following a old person home going 25 miles an hour down Youngstown Poland Road. And gray hair, I could see her, could barely see above the wheel, right? So I made the thing, this lady shouldn't be driving anymore. Sure, she needs to take a driving test. What age, if any age, should an elderly person have to take driving tests?
Oh, and on top of that, too,
if at all.
We've been talking about it lately, too, because both of my wife's accidents, she's gotten in 2 accidents in the past year. One was caused by a man with a handicap sticker in his car, and he was over 70, and the other guy was over 70 with hearing aids and everything else. So,
well, that's different. That's not the same thing. You're splitting them in 2 categories: physically able to drive and able to drive like a normal person.
Yeah.
So if my son Luke, when he was 16, I bought him a vehicle, okay? And the reason I bought him a vehicle, because every young person gets into an accident, except maybe Isaac.
No, I did. I went off the road in the snow. Remember?
They get into accidents within the first year or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Luke did. I bought him a Fiero, which is basically a dune buggy with fancy sides. Within 6 months, he wrecked the dune buggy, okay? But it has roll bars, okay? And it's a 2-seater. Why did I buy him a 2-seater roll bar car? Because I knew he'd wreck it, okay? And my wife yelled at me. Same thing applies to old people. If they get stopped, Aunt Sophie, okay? Mm-hmm. If they get stopped, and the police officer thinks they're not, like Isaac said, they can't hear, they can't see, they should be tested. Do I think my neighbor who's in her 80s drives better than a lot of young people?
Yeah. For those that don't know, Aunt Sophie was the lady who gave me my car. She, towards the end of her life, was going a little loony. She was driving down, good old German lady, driving the wrong way down Route 11. Like got on the exit ramp, driving the wrong way down Route 11. You know what she did when she got pulled over? Tried to fight the police officer. Tried to fight the state hoopy and said, "I'm not doing anything wrong. Get away from me. I'm fine." Yeah. So, that happened. And then I ended up getting her car. And yeah. So,
I mean, I've followed people to Cleveland because I have a daughter who lives up there.
Oh, boy.
They're 45 years old that ride the speed limit's 70 and they're going 60.
So you don't think elderly should have tests every 2 years?
I think everybody should have a test every 3 years.
That's a good one.
Every 3 years?
Yeah, every
3 years.
Listen, once you get to a certain age, I feel like your reaction time, and as well as a lot of other things, drastically depletes.
No, there have been studies. Your reaction time does decrease.
It's not ageism; it's statistics. Okay.
Yeah. But the question is, does it decrease because of your age, or does it just? And that's what the studies show. They can't say it decreases to such a dangerous level. They will follow the speed limit versus you going like me, going 70.
No. You know what? They don't follow the speed limit. They go under the speed limit. They go like 30 and a 45, which is also dangerous.
Well, they should be stopped. I agree with you there. I have no problem. Drive up down Market Street out of North Line.
Is it Isaac? Is it thundering over there?
Yeah.
We're getting freaking buried over here right now. Holy crap!
I hope it's not raining at my place.
Dad, do you know what Grist Mill? Do you remember Grist Mill?
Oh yeah,
Pops must have been to.
Yeah, that's the Wedgwood Bowling Alley.
There you go.
And there was a theater there, and there was a dance hall in the bottom of the.
Hey, Pop, have you ever been in a fist fight?
Yes, you have a messed up nose.
That is about as funny as you could get.
Did you win?
Mike, I'll give you a grist.
Did you win, or did you lose a bunch and win some?
You lose some. I was at the grist mill, and there's a doctor that is in Warren, and
calling people out. You want to fight him again?
I challenge.
Set it up.
We can set that up.
In my 30s, and he came out, and I sucker punched him in the parking lot.
Yeah, you did. That's my dad. You remember the fight? Remember the fight at the lunch table, Luke? My dad could beat up your dad. You remember that fight? You remember talking to people like that? Do you remember like sitting at the lunch table and being like, my dad could totally beat up your dad?
Yes.
No, my dad would totally beat up your dad.
Talking about basketball when they got soccer players.
What did he say? Was he mumbling?
What? Soccer players?
We were at a game. This coach,
he got in a fight with two guys at Leanna's 6-year-old soccer game.
Yeah, no, one guy.
You got in a fight at a 6-year-old soccer game?
Yeah.
Well, something's never changed. Something's never changed.
Well, here's what happened, and this is what's wrong with our society. Except
everybody wonders why I have a mental problem. For God's
I
sake.
saw a video today of a guy tackling an individual running away from the police. 6 years old. We're at a soccer game in Campfield, and a guy next to me starts, and my wife and my sister-in-law is there, and in fact, I think a cousin was there, and a guy starts effing this, effing that, you dumb this, you dumb that. And I asked him, and I was sitting in a beach chair that's really low. I was 6'5" back then and weighed about 50 more pounds. And I asked him very nicely, I said, sir, would you stop with the language? My wife's here and my kids are here and my sister-in-law. He said, I'll do anything I want. I said, and he stood up. He said, I'll show you. If I want to do it, I'll do it. I stood up and I said, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Isaac, anarchy. I'm talking popping this guy, rolling around on the floor at a 6-year-old soccer game. Okay. I was like 10. Okay. I remember 10. I was like 11. Rolling around.
You were about 9 at the most.
I'm 4 years older than I'm 4 years.
No, you're 3 years old.
Okay. I was 10. I mean, she had
So were there like haymakers being thrown and stuff?
Oh yeah. Oh, they're rolling. People are trying to break them up. It is just absolute, like little kids running. I mean, it was just absolute.
So back then,
he shouldn't have stood up and threatened me.
Back then, were you like allowed to get in fights like that? Like, were people passing charges?
No. They called me from the board, from the soccer board.
Did the cops come? The cops never came, did they?
Yeah, I can't remember that one.
I don't remember what happened.
I had parents run across the soccer field when I was coaching Isaac and threatened to beat me up.
Yeah, one of the refs, I remember the ref who was in his day as a day job, he was a clown, which was super interesting. Fought that.
Tom was gonna get in a fight with a ref that's a clown.
That was a clown during his day job, yes. So then what? You know the Bakers? So Alex and Jordan, what they did with Mrs. Baker was Dad's assistant coach. They wrote a letter and said they were the guy, and they put it in the mailbox and said like, hey, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm coming for round 2, like all this stuff. And then they put it in Dad's mailbox saying, I'm coming for him. To mess with him. And Dad's like, what the heck?
Yeah, they did that. Yeah, but the board called me and said they understood and that fellow wasn't allowed back to the soccer field.
You didn't get in trouble for it at all?
No, because he threw the first punch, which was a bad decision on his part.
Yeah.
Holly says, Pops, what do you like to do in your retirement? What do you do in your retirement?
I just retired full time about a year and a half ago. I was the tour coordinator part time at the Butler Institute. I love art. I have a tour tomorrow with the Montessori School of Youngstown, which in fact, my wife and I were one of the founding members of Montessori back when Luke started in Montessori in 1982.
I did go to Montessori. See, I think I was very uppity.
Yeah. So I like doing tours with kids. I'm going to do outreaches again since I was a tour coordinator at the Butler. I set up tours.
Yeah.
My wife and I love to travel. Isaac will tell you that he's been all over with us.
Yeah.
Luke went to Disney World 6 times in his youth. So
yeah,
we do a lot of travel. We probably have 21, 22 ocean cruises in about 6. We've been to Vietnam.
Like a platinum member or whatever, right?
Yeah,
we were a Diamond Plus member on Royal Caribbean.
Isaac's an Emerald member.
I'm like my Royal Caribbean, even though I didn't pay for any of the cruises, recognizes me as like an Emerald member. Like if I were to go take a because in my lifetime I've been on so many cruises. Because I've been on 10 to 14 through Royal with mom and dad as a kid.
Here we go. Pops, do you wish the mob was still a big part of this area?
Absolutely not. And I get I look at the mob site, okay, and I put on there, they were criminals. I lived on the south side of Youngstown with the guy got shot on a Catalina Drive or something. I lived there when the guy got blown up on Market Street.
The old Youngstown tune-up.
Yeah, and you know, they were criminals. I get very upset. There's a guy that lived, men that lived out in North Lima, and they wrote a book about their adventures. They were criminals. They broke into a bank. No, I don't wish the mob was back.
Yeah, and you don't like that people idolize them.
No, I hate that.
What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say when you were a docent at the Butler.
I still am.
And tell you what, the perks of having a dad that is a tour guide at the Butler. Dad was one of the first people to meet my now wife, Shelby, because I asked him to give us a private tour. So me and Shelby got a private tour. One of the first people in the family to meet Shelby, and he took us through the Butler private tour. Tell you what, that was money. He's a
Isaac, Pop, cousin Michael from Canada is on.
Yes. I love Michael.
We're at a little bit of a dry spell, Michael.
Yeah. Michael's my nephew, my sister's son. We pick on him big time. He takes a lot of abuse when he comes down here because he's Canadian.
Oh, we had a great time with him.
He came down for the 4th. We hadn't seen him in 3 years.
Great. Yeah.
I love both my nephews.
I'm the only one that went to Montessori school. I only went for preschool, right?
No, Leanna went. Isaac and Patty did not go to Montessori. Luke and Leanna.
That's why Leanna and I are early.
Do you know Denny Furman?
Yes,
your grandma made the best strudel.
Yeah, and Denny. Oh, well, there's a guy I used to fight with, Denny Furman. Okay, Denny and I lived on the south side. He lived at the corner. His dad owned this Ohio gas station with Standard Oil. And we were the same age, and we played together, but we probably fought at least Denny probably once a week, but we had a great time. Denny Furman and I told you this not too long ago at Saxon, but Denny Furman and I, his sister made a little thing in Girl Scouts, and we got under this bush on Regent Avenue and pretended it was a grill and set it on fire under these bushes.
I thought that was going somewhere else.
Danny, not judging you from your profile picture, but you look like you probably couldn't maneuver through a roundabout.
Well, Denny's a good guy.
MLO Bros, when did you start your podcast and why? March 2020?
It was our first podcast was April 20th of 2020 during COVID. It's right when I got my loan officer license and I needed to get business. On top of that, we wanted to help the community during COVID because everybody was bored out of their freaking minds. I've said that so many times. Pops, what were your thoughts on them starting a podcast? That's a good question.
I had no problem with it. I had watched other podcasts and before they ever started theirs. I think I even told Luke it was a great idea.
Yeah.
No,
you never said anything bad about it.
No.
Now our wives
said bad things.
Yeah, the wives all said bad things, but I never said a bad thing.
And Mom doesn't get it.
Huh?
And Mom didn't get it. Mom did not.
Mom is about. She's just like, oh, okay, honey, do whatever you want. She's very like up in the air. Like, sounds good. Mom, going to rob a bank. Okay, honey, be safe.
Mom read somebody's post the other day that was talking shit about us, Isaac. Yeah. And like they were like, the MLO Bros, they swear, they're unprofessional, they don't dress. Mom was like ready to go. I don't even know who it was. I didn't see the post. Mom was ready to go beat them up. Like she was like, I can't believe they would say something about you guys. Like
they said it was. Well, she's like, and here's the thing, it was very well written. She's like a professor. She's like, very well written. Like you pissed off somebody smart. Like it wasn't a dumb person. Yeah, no. I'm like, I don't know, Mom. People get mad at us all the time. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, my dear wife has written 2 books. One in a foreign language was published in Korea. And she's an excellent writer. Denny, I have to mention Denny. If you're still Denny's family, I still carry the scar on the back of my bald head.
Yeah.
When I went under a swing way back when I was a kid, and I cut the back of my head, and his mom and his sister patched me up, and I didn't have to go get stitches. I probably should have. But I was bleeding like a stuffed pig on a roast. Denny's mom and dad were incredible.
Great job, Denny's mom.
So you weren't a trafficking supporter, Pop?
Absolutely not. Yeah. And you know why? I heard the tapes of him at the Calamar.
Oh, those are so...
And he was as guilty as a skunk.
Pop, he did that to try and bust them, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
He's playing along.
I had to listen to your grandmother for years how great he was.
Arranged marriage? Haha, arranged marriage.
Isaac, look at Gino. I just woke up because I said he had to take
Go back to bed, Gino. Go back to bed, buddy.
Listen, before you go to bed tonight, Gino, go read about how to drive around in roundabouts.
What? Drive what?
Go learn how to drive around in roundabouts.
Yeah. Read up on how to maneuver through a roundabout. You could use that.
Bob, we bust his poor balls on being old all the time.
Mike Firmstone says, Pops, what are your thoughts on Luke never wearing sleeves?
You don't want to hear it.
You think he should dress nicer? You think you should present yourself when you get dressed in the morning?
Well, you know what? None of you have ever seen Luke dressed up. Luke's a really handsome guy, and when he gets dressed up, he knocks him dead. His wife,
especially because I lost my weight, Isaac. I'm slim.
No, that you were.
What he's trying to say is, back in the day, you look good.
I was good looking dude back in the day.
Yeah. You don't pull Maggie. You don't pull Maggie and start out as an ugly fellow. You had to be attractive.
I'm 20s. I was pretty good looking. I'm not gonna lie. I could pull. I could.
R.I.P. to those days.
You should have seen Luke on the cruise ship when he was dressed up. The old ladies just fell all over him. Yeah. Oh, Isaac, you're such a good
Isaac, did your dad arrange your marriage since he met your wife? No. So I met Shelby. I knew Shelby since 3rd grade, but I talked to her again in college. Dad was the first one that I brought her to that was in our family because he was a docent and he gave us a private tour through the butler. So that was awesome. That made me look great.
Daddy Furman just responded. Remembering what Anna's talking about carrying his sister's books.
Nice. Anna, God rest her soul. God rest her soul.
Yeah.
But I did try to arrange Luke's marriage. Maggie was working at a pharmacy and I was a pharmaceutical rep. And I tried to fix him up, but he was 21 and she was like 17, 18, something
which
like
is illegal.
And so I said, oh no, I can't do that. I can't do that to her. And one day Luke was sitting on the couch and he turns to me, I was sitting in my chair and he says, Pop, do you know everybody in town? I said, well, I know a lot of people because I was on the road selling all the time. He goes, I went on a blind date last night. And so she had her chance. And I said, he says to me, I went on a blind date.
This was years later.
Yeah, years later. Well,
Yeah, not when she was 17. So let's get
yeah,
that.
no, she was probably 20 or something. I forget.
She was, when we started dating, she was 22 because she was in college.
22. So it was years later. But he says, I went on a blind date last night, and this girl turns to me and says, are you related to Fred Schuster? And he goes, I said to her, do you like him or don't you like him? And she says, no, I like him. And that's how they met, on a blind date. So she had her chance to get out of this.
Yeah. And here's the interesting thing. We grew up in our school district. Dad was on the school board, and you were always in, like, what else were you?
I was a zoning person on a commission board or variance board for 38 years.
You were always in something. So everybody in Beaver County knew you.
Beaver
Township and Green Township knew of you because that was South Range. But what's interesting is now we got older and now we do the podcast, and people say they know your kids and they're coming up to you saying, hey, you're the dad of the MLO Bros. We watch their show or whatever. And it's interesting that the roles have now flipped.
Yeah.
I think that's
Isaac, wait until you have kids, because Lucas, so Lucas is almost 13 now.
Yeah.
And he has people coming up to him saying, oh, your dad is Luke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fun. It's funny. And of course, Lucas loves it because he's been, he loves
right.
it.
Yeah. He knows the ways of using that to his advantage.
Yeah,
he's a talker.
What's your favorite place to eat, and what are you ordering?
I have a lot of favorite places to eat. That's the problem.
What's your one place you could go?
No, probably there's a restaurant in Calcutta that is a Mexican restaurant. It's probably the best Mexican restaurant. We did missions to Mexico for 16 years, my wife and I.
Shout out to Calcutta, Ohio.
Calcutta. And it's the best. It is just like eating Mexican food in California and Mexico.
We need to go there. Why don't you ever take us there? That sounds great.
Yeah, it's just great. Locally, right in this area.
Mom's been talking about it.
Yeah, it's really a good restaurant. It's really like you're eating in Mexico.
We're big fans of Mizu. We go there for sushi.
Yeah, tell Isaac what I made you the other day.
Oh my God. Luke's a really good cook. He made hibachi. That is the best hibachi I've ever eaten in New York City, California. You name it.
Thanks for the invite, guys. Thanks for
No, it was Luke's hibachi was incredible.
Was it good?
It was really good.
Did he make yum sauce?
Noodles, rice, Isaac, chicken.
Oh, did you make the soba noodles or the
oh yeah.
The egg noodles?
Yeah.
Those things are good.
For all you who don't know, Luke's a good cook.
Yep. Let's see here. What else we got?
The other thing about Denny and I, we grew up on the south side of Youngstown, when down by South High School on Market Street. We lived in that area. It was, you go back in memory time, and I've driven back there many times. It was a great place to grow up. We could play baseball across the street in the church parking lot. It's sad.
How close were you to the Oak Hill place down there?
What Oak Hill place?
Oh, the Oak Hill building.
You mean where the hospital was?
Yeah, it's St. Joe's.
Oh no, we were on the upper end of the south side.
Like closer.
It's funny because Meridian Road, if you lived on the other side of Meridian Road, which is part of Youngstown, you were considered the wealthy kids. And if you lived on the north,
where were you at? Where were you at? South. Pop, what side? Where were you at on South? Like going down Market. So we go down Market Street. Where were we turning to get to your house? Go down Market Street.
You go down Market Street where the building, the old South High School, is on the right-hand side. It's a big stone building.
Yeah.
I grew up on Warren Avenue, and I grew up on Evergreen. If you turn right where that old high school used to be, and you make a left-hand turn, you go towards Oak Hill Avenue. Okay,
that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, but that's the other place. The hospital's further down, way further.
Yeah, way far closer to town, right? Closer to 680, right?
Yeah, Denny lived at the corner of Warren Avenue.
Is your old house like a parking lot now?
No, my old house is still there. Your grandmother's old house is gone.
Knock on that door.
Yeah, right.
Good.
Hey, can we take a picture on your front porch?
Yeah. Hey, I want to check out my old house.
Yeah, let's do it, Dad.
Yeah.
You've lived long enough. If anything happens, you'll be fine.
What's that, Dollar General?
Dollar General Evergreen.
I don't know what he's talking about. Are you on the right podcast, Tony? I don't know what he's talking about.
Maybe he's talking about what street to turn on. There must be a Dollar
Oh,
General.
Evergreen. Yeah. No. You're right, Tony. It's not right on the corner of Evergreen.
There's a Dollar General down there.
Yeah, that's what he's talking
Yeah.
about.
There's I don't know if it's Dollar General or Family Dollar.
Dad lived in the first ward, Southside.
Yes, I did, Tracy.
Tracy's running.
Tracy's running for city ward.
Yeah, Tracy. I lived in this. Is it first ward or seventh ward?
That's the
somewhere
first
in there
one.
is a splitting line.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
If you could kick a celebrity's ass, who would you fight?
Who would I? That's
What celebrity would you just punch in the
The
face?
guy who did the airplane movie.
Tom Hanks?
Yeah, I don't like Tom Hanks.
What are you talking about?
He's American. What are you talking about?
He's a jerk. He's a great actor, but he's a jerk.
He was on what's his name's island, Epstein's Island.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
He was
You
on-
want to beat up Bob has a problem with Tom Hanks.
I have a problem. He's a great actor. He did a better job in the second movie, airplane movie. But he did, listen to him on an interview.
Dude, you're gonna fight Captain what's his
He's
name?
only 5'6".
Wait, are you talking about Tom Cruise?
No, Tom Cruise.
He's talking.
Yeah, not Tom Hanks, the old guy that's in the auto movie.
No, not.
That's Tom Hanks.
I'm sorry, the guy who did the airplane movie.
Top Gun. Top Gun.
Yeah. He's a jerk.
Totally understandable. I get it.
That makes sense. I was like everybody was.
No, Hanks is a good guy.
Ohio native Tom Hanks. Thinking Otto. Did you see that movie? A Man Named Otto.
That's a great movie. He did not get credit on that movie. That was a phenomenal movie. Did you see that movie?
Castaway.
Oh yeah. Tom Hanks?
Captain, where he's the captain on the boat.
Oh, he's a great actor.
Sully. Yeah. So good.
He's
Captain, Captain Phillips. I mean, every movie he does.
Captain Phillips.
Well, he was the one. He was the one where he was the mentally challenged guy too.
Yeah, Forrest Gump.
Arguably
one of the best movies ever made.
Okay, I can get behind kicking Tom Cruise. That saved yourself there, Pops. That's what my
Luke, who are you? I'll give you two. Who are you two people you just punch right in the face?
Celebrities?
Yeah. Like two celebrities that every time you see them, you're just like, oh, I just want to stink it. Send one right into their suck hole.
Right. So if I could punch one celebrity right in the suck hole, Ellen DeGeneres.
Me too.
All right. I got two. One male, one female.
Yeah.
Male. You want male or female first?
Go with you.
Male Pitbull. I like don't even mind his music. You know, like
Pitbull the rapper.
Fireball. That guy. I want to just punch him in the. Some about his face. He's probably a great guy, but I just want to punch him. Number two, Pink.
Oh God.
The singer Pink.
Yeah.
Just want to think of Decker. I don't know what it is. Something about her.
Offensive.
Just want to punch her in the face. I don't even know if she's offensive. I don't know. It's just some people, man.
Taylor Swift. I'd like to punch Taylor Swift.
No, Taylor Swift. She's a sweetheart.
I know. I like Taylor Swift.
Something about Pink and Pitbull. Just want to.
Wow, that's crazy. That's intense. Ellen DeGeneres, just because I think like everybody says she's just a terrible person.
She's a terrible person. Yeah, and she just puts up this whole fake image, and she's actually horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. So Anna just said, how could you mix up Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks? Maybe you
because I'm old.
Yeah. So we both Luke and I are not good with names.
Yeah.
And that is from our dad.
Yeah.
That is from our dad. I mean, I cannot remember a name to save my life.
I took courses to remember names. I didn't do it.
I am so bad at remembering names. So bad. People come up to us all the time, and I don't remember the names. I sold on the national level, and it was so embarrassing when I'd go into a state government office where I was talking to someone, and I had seen him for like 3 weeks, and I couldn't remember. And I wrote it down and walked in. I couldn't remember. Yeah, I'm so bad at that. I didn't know you guys were so bad at that. Oh. That and like I'm good at remembering like things that happen, but not dates and not names. Well, you get that from me then, because I don't know. Yeah, I was bad in history class for that too. Let's see here. Anybody else? We're almost done here. We got an hour already, Isaac. Yeah. An hour? Yeah. Isn't that crazy, Pop? You got to drive home. Oh, somebody asked, where do you live now? You live at Lake Tomahawk, right?
Yeah,
Are you sure your old man eyes are gonna be able to get you home?
please.
Maybe you should drive him home.
I mean, I'm not driving him home. He'll be fine.
I have better eyes now than it did a year and a half ago.
Yeah, because you had cataract surgery, right?
Yeah, and I had implants. I had coronary implants done. I was going blind, and I wanted to see my sons get old.
Jill Caselica says, just joined in. Tell Fred I said hi.
Hi,
Old neighbor.
great neighbor.
Did you know she's a client for Marshall's Marvelous Pet Services right now? Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah,
Shelby watches her dog every now and then.
And then let's see. Do we have any other thing we want to talk about?
I have to tell you a story about Jill.
Okay, tell a story about Jill.
Jill, you know this is true. So listen, it's more about Paul. So we bought the house at the lake, and I told Paul that I would never own a boat. And I said to Paul, Paul, you got to help me come and move this vehicle. And he goes, oh, why? You got two sizes? No, you got to come and look. So he came with me, and what it was I lived on the lake, and I wanted to show that I had a boat that I bought, the power boat, Luke.
Yeah.
I tricked him. Yeah, so I tricked him to come down to help me, and he goes, "You're living here now."
That was cool. Yeah, he had a boat. Didn't he have a boat for a while?
Yeah, he had a big boat.
Yeah, he had a big speedboat, like ours.
Yeah, I remember that. Wow. Let's see here. Well, look, Holly said, awesome show. Glad to see Dad on here.
Wow. Thanks, Holly. Appreciate it. She's just some person who watches the show.
She watches a lot of the ghost hunting stuff.
Community wants Bob the whole time on here.
We should get, you know what we need to do, Isaac? We need to let Mom and Pop, you and I,
No way. We'll argue the whole
and Pop. Yeah, let Mom and Pop have a guest on and have them interview.
No, what we should do is like have them. The problem is, old people and internet. Their internet at the lake is awful.
Yeah, you need to drive there. Yeah.
But I want like me and you interviewing Mom and Dad together and like just bringing up topics that we know they'll argue about. Or like just like one word topics and then just let them go.
Just realize, folks, we might argue, but next year will be our 50th anniversary.
It's 50 years of just absolute yelling at each other.
Yeah. You know what Dad was always good for? Growing up, Dad was always good for, you would like, you want to spice up a conversation with Dad, you just say, Dad, Mom's really driving me crazy about like cars or something. And Dad will be like, oh, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. It'll go off for like half an hour about how he's pissed at Mom about whatever.
The other thing that Pop does is when he's mad at one of his kids.
Yeah. Oh,
he
yeah.
Always, hey, how's it going, Texas? And I'm like, oh,
yeah,
mad at somebody right now.
Yeah. Or you could be like, like when he's actively mad at Patty, because it was always me and Patty. So he's actively mad at Patty. You just be like, man, you know what, Dad? Patty's really driving me crazy today. He'd be like, oh, don't get me started about your sister. I don't even want to talk about it right now. And then he'll talk about it for a half hour.
Well, we have to make everybody aware. I have 4 kids. The only one wrecked 7 cars. And that's my dear loving Patty. So just imagine what I had to go through with 7 vehicles. They weren't all her fault, but she wrecked 7 cars. We heard that from the next door.
Yeah, no doubt they did. No doubt, Jill.
Yeah. Jill, was everything okay over there? Yeah, it's fine. They're just yelling at each other. It's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah. They're just
the thing is, I learned from my mom and dad. Did they fight a lot? Yes. But here's the thing. Nothing was ever bottled up. So like nothing was ever compressed and anger was like built up. It was all out on the table. So like all words that could be said were said, and they knew everything that was going on. So technically, communication, if it's key, they were communicating. They were just communicating loudly.
50 years, right, Pop?
Yep. Next year, just had our
40 years coming up. I mean, that's a long time to be with the same person.
With the same woman.
Yeah.
And we know, you both know we're both hard-headed, so it was tough.
Yeah. They're both smart, very strong-willed people.
Yeah. Gina just asked, coming up on 50 years, Gina.
Yeah.
My dad is. Oh, Tracy Randall saying, who lived from Denny Furman with all the kids? My dad was from down there.
What?
Her Tracy's dad was from down that way
Well,
too.
that's probably not her maiden name.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
What's your maiden name, Tracy? If that isn't your maiden name.
Denny
no.
Furman. She meant Denny. She means Denny
lived
Furman.
from Denny Furman with all the kids. I don't know what she
lived down from Denny Furman.
I don't
all
know.
the kids.
I don't remember Tracy.
No,
somebody
Tracy.
else remember.
Oh, okay. Firmstone's got a good one. Pops, do you like the automatic start and stop on engine ignitions now? Like when you come to a stop, do you like how it like shuts off on you?
Yes, I heard a good thing though from a good information from a guy who's auto wise. I love it because I have a Buick Enclave loaded. I get like 24 miles to the gallon. That because it shuts down.
How's the consumer report on that, Pop?
Huh?
Consumer report on your car?
Yeah, I did that. That the first one. But you got to realize what happens when that engine shuts off. Every time that engine shuts off, the starter kicks it back on. So the question is,
are you using gas?
No. The question is, how long will that starter last? Okay, because
will it go out quicker?
Yeah, will it burn up quicker? And starters are not cheap anymore.
Solid question. Dad, so how about outside? I was doing yard work the other day, and Shelby got in her accident. She's been looking for cars, and she says, "Well, I'm debating two different cars now, Isaac. I'm in between two." Consumer Report says the Mazda is the way to go.
Really?
And I just look up at her, and I'm like, and she's like, "What?" I'm like, "I married my freaking dad."
He does like the consumer.
She's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Dad always talks about consumer."
I'm not gonna lie, Isaac. When I was looking at my truck,
yeah,
totally
Consumer Report.
Totally.
Yeah, so she's in between a Subaru and a Mazda because Consumer Report says they're the best for mid-size SUVs.
Yeah, well, they're the greatest magazine written. I've used it a lot. Hey, I'll tell you a story. Since Luke said he looked it up and Shelby looked it up. Here's a funny story. So I'm sitting in my living room one day. Luke has his three boys, and he calls me up and he goes, "Pop, I'm becoming like you." I go, "What are you talking about?" He said, "The boys were being bad. I told one boy to go sit on the couch. I told the other boy to go sit over on the chair. I told the other one to go sit over there. I don't want you looking at each other. I don't want you talking to each other. I don't want you." And he says, I turned around and I started walking away. Like, oh my God, I'm my father.
I mean, it was word for word.
Right.
Like that. And I turn and Maggie's in the kitchen like, "Oh my God, I'm Fred."
Right. So Tracy says maiden name is Randall. My dad, Dennis, knew Denny Furman.
There we go. That
old people segment.
Oh yeah, Denny Furman.
Dennis Randall. You know Dennis Randall?
I remember.
Yeah.
No, Denny Furman. Everyone knew his dad because he owned that gas station at the corner of Hillman Street and Warren Avenue. Everybody went there.
No way.
His dad, Denny Furman's dad, was incredible. His uncle was incredible. They were like us. We lived in three families lived in one house. My grandparents lived on the first floor. My family, my mom and dad lived on the second, and my Aunt Sophie lived on the third. Denny Furman lived on the first, and their uncle lived on the third floor. That's the way it was back in the 60s.
So, Pop, I have a question for you. This is a serious question. You have like spread the Schuster name now because there's like kids all over and everything else.
Yeah.
Like, what's it like having all these grandkids?
Seven grandchildren now.
Let's not talk about it.
You don't want to talk about your grandchildren? You don't.
I love my grandchildren, but they're all over the place. I have the sad part about this. It's a good part, but it's sad for me.
Yeah.
I have and Isaac doesn't have any yet, and he's hopefully will someday.
Yeah.
But I have a
grand weenie.
I have a
grand weenie.
I have right now. I have 4, 5 children, grandchildren that are of an age that they're all good athletes. Okay. Ben's just starting, but I have a grandson that's 3 grandsons that are good athletes, and you try to get to see all their sports, and it's tough. It was like when I had Luke, Leanna, I have to run from Luke's game to Leanna's game. The same thing happened when Isaac. I thought I had a break when Isaac was done playing soccer. We were at a soccer game, and this woman started crying. That's a soccer game, and mom turns to her and says, "What's the matter? What are you crying for?" "I don't want to get to see any more soccer games. I want to get to see my kids play sports." And Pam goes, "I've been doing this for 25 years. So I don't want to take a break."
Right.
Yeah, right.
And then you have grandkids and you go see their games.
It's worth.
Pops is Poland soft.
Oh,
Is Poland soft? Do you think
Poland soft.
I like the other one about the riots.
Riots?
All
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Luke.
Good.
Were you there during the riots in 67, 68?
I was there.
Hillman and Warren was a hot spot.
You're absolutely right. I was there in 67, and we had just moved, and the tanks were not tanks. What are those things called? The where they had transports were sitting on the corner of Hillman and Warren Ave. Oak Hill and Warren. They were sitting there, and we saw my buddy. I get very upset with certain comments that are made all the time, and people make comments to me when I view my opinion, and I tell them, don't call me a racist. I had a best friend that got shot when he was killed when he was 15 years old on the South Side, and he wasn't a white dude; he was a black dude. Him and I and Denny ended up. We played together and stuff. So when people tell me that, I get rather upset.
Yeah.
But we were there during the riots, and we had just moved. We had literally just moved when they happened in that beginning year.
I know the answer to this question. Do you two know the answer to this question? Jill says, Fred, what is the name of the torn down restaurant that was in the old Golfo's parking lot? Oh. It was Golfo's. It was the Sparkle in North Lima. What was the restaurant?
Not the Sparkle.
No, that's the Idle Hour. That's easy.
The Value King, and it was
Golfo's too at one point.
Yeah, it was Golfo's.
What was the
Idle Hour?
Idle Hour. Yeah, it had the best turtle soup in the world.
Turtle soup?
They made turtle soup there. It was this fellow would collect turtles, clean them, and bring them to the Idle Hour, and they'd make turtle soup.
Are you allowed to do that?
Yeah, there were.
That is risky business.
What? No,
you would go get turtles and bring them to the Idle Hour? They cook them for you?
They clean them, they butcher them, clean them, and then bring them to the Idle Hour and cook them.
Oh, okay.
Some random guy's like, "Here's your order of
Cook
turtles."
me a turtle.
Well, they were good.
Cook me this turtle.
And the thing about it was, here tells you zoning. The thing about it was when they added on or remodeled North Lima High School, the high school from South Range, the Idle Hours was still there. And I was on the school board, and they had to find out where the septic system went. And
that place smelled like poop.
Yeah, they could never. There was a pipe that ran from this Idle Hour out the back, but no one knew where it went.
It just probably went underground and just sat there because that place smelled like poop. I remember that being like a 3-year-old.
That place was a good restaurant, though. They had good food. It was a good greasy spoon restaurant.
Yeah.
Tito says, best breakfast. The ketchup in the bottles wasn't Heinz, but that's what the label said.
Tito, you're absolutely right.
They were pouring off ketchup into the Heinz bottles.
The old
Tito's absolutely right.
Dad, is Poland soft?
Yes.
Love it. Next question.
Hey, let me tell you a story about Luke.
Okay.
Good story about Luke. About his mother. So we played Springfield in football, and Luke caught this incredible pass in the end zone. I think the score was tied up, or they were winning. Luke caught this incredible pass, brought it down, one hand in the air, brought it down. We beat him. We knocked him out of the playoffs. Luke played basketball. We go into the basketball gym, and his mother is screaming mad because they have a sign in the Springfield gym went for the basketball game that said, Luke sucks.
No, Schuster sucks. Schuster sucks. Chanting it the whole game.
Yeah, she was ready to go over and rip that sign out of those kids' hand. And I said, Pam, that's an honor. He's being honored.
I love that. I used to love that. I was definitely not loved by other sports teams back in the day at all. In any school, I was definitely not the good guy for those other teams. All right. Well, Isaac, you want to have Mom on next? This is good. This is good stuff.
Yeah, we can have Mom on.
This is good stuff.
I'm telling you, we should have Mom and Dad
on.
just have them bicker.
Wait, when's your anniversary, Pop? September? When is it?
No. My June 15th. Yeah, next year.
Let's have them on at the same time, Isaac. We'll see if we can get them to fight. First one to get them to fight wins.
Yeah,
that won't take.
But we can have Mom on.
It's like a 5-minute podcast.
The problem is Mom's gonna take it too serious.
Yeah.
When it comes to stuff like this, Mom takes it serious.
Yeah, she does. She definitely. That is very true. Mom is a very serious person when it comes to stuff.
When it comes to stuff like this, she won't joke around.
Very, very true.
Jill and Denny, nice seeing you on here. I miss both of you. I see Denny at the Saxon Club every now and then, but
Pop, any elderly advice to give anyone? Like any life advice you'd like to give anyone before we go?
Yeah, I do. I have some good advice.
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, you want me to say it?
Yes, say it.
Yeah, that was kind of the point.
I thought you froze up.
I was gonna hit him in the back.
Enjoy, as my sons always try to tell me, enjoy getting old. Don't be an old grumpy old smudger. Okay. You can still enjoy yourself.
He's mellowed out a lot.
I've mellowed out, but yeah, there's health issues too. So
here's the other thing about Dad too that you don't see in a lot of old people. This man has traveled the world. He has seen people from all walks of life, from all around the planet. There are some people that have not left their hometown, that don't understand how the world works, and that are passing judgment. That drives me absolutely crazy because they don't know anything. They think they know everything because they're regurgitating everything they've heard on the TV, but they've never actually experienced anything other than what they've experienced in their own town. So it's that is infuriating to me.
I have, my wife and I went to Vietnam 3 years ago, and I was never in Vietnam, and I wanted to go see Vietnam. I had friends that fought over there, and I convinced a couple of them to go back, and then the COVID hit because they don't call it the Vietnam War, they call it the American War. I've been to Nigeria.
He went on a mission trip to Nigeria and had armed guards bringing them around so that my mom and the doctors and everybody could see people in Nigeria. What are you, a tribe?
I'm a chief in Nigeria.
He's a chief in Nigeria. He's technically a chief
only because of my wife.
In the country of Nigeria for one of the tribes.
It's a traditional.
But listen now, awesome.
My wife is we're watching this, so I have to give her credit. The reason I became a chief in Nigeria, she heads up all the missions. She's an incredible lady because she put all these missions. We went 16 years to one spot in Mexico, went one spot in another location in Mexico. We went to Nigeria. She put all those programs together, got all the students from YSU who were nursing students. But to become a chief in Nigeria, her husband had to be a chief.
Yeah, can't have a woman above her man.
She was so ticked off.
Dad had to be a chief too.
I had to be a chief. That's the only way I became a chief. If it wasn't for Mom, I would have never been a chief.
But you got a cool.
I still Francis, my two sons know Francis. He's been here from Nigeria. I talk to him probably twice a week on Facebook. I talked to our friend and one of my friends,
Francis and Uzi.
Yeah. Francis, and I talked to from Mexico and visited. So, and Isaac and my family, they've never been outside of Mexico. They live in the Baja.
Yeah. So
you've been to the Baja.
I have. I've been down to San Quintin, Mexico, went fishing and hung out. But yeah, so he's not your average old man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely not. So, all right. Well, let's wrap this up. So, this weekend, me, Jeremy, and Ron with the Youngstown Ghost subpar, no more ghost hunters are going. Did you see where we're going, Isaac?
Yeah, the town. It's creepy as
22
heck.
houses. We talked to the owners today. 22 abandoned houses from the 1900s.
Ooh, that's creepy.
That's creepy.
Creepy as heck. Mining town. They closed it down because of E. coli in the 50s.
Where's that?
Darlington, Pennsylvania.
Oh, I know where that
is.
is.
It's called Yellow Dog Village
Yeah, that's where our cleaning lady's from.
Why'd they shut it down for E. coli?
because the water got poisoned due to the mine.
Oh,
That makes sense. That was why they left.
yeah.
Like I was like, you don't just abandon a town.
No.
Right. So we.
Hey, you know what,
we're
everybody?
going ghost
When
hunting.
when Luke gets picked when Luke gets picked to go shoot the deer in Mill Creek Park,
Oh yeah.
we should all go down to the entrance where they're going to let him in, and we should cheer for Luke.
While we all wear these shirts.
Yes.
Buy your shirt today.
I will be the cheerleader.
$20.
Yeah.
Venmo at the MLO Bros.
So, anyways, 9:00 on Saturday, we will be streaming live on our
cool.
thing, so you'll be able to watch us explore that, Pop, if you want to go ghost hunting. with us.
Yeah, my
shirt.
that's close to me.
And if you hate us, buy this one.
There you go. Playing both sides. Anything else, Isaac?
No. Do we have anything set up for Tuesday or Thursday of next week?
Nope.
I'm going to try and get and if anybody knows him, Mike Conzanetta from the restaurant downtown that's fighting with the city and saying saying that the construction is too much and it's affecting all the downtown business.
Email what's her name? She's the PR person for him.
I want to talk to him again because I know he's finally saying enough's enough, and I don't blame any of those restaurants down there.
Tonight.
Oh, I go down there for grand jury duty.
It's ridiculous.
You can't drive around.
Well, they're like cutting off people from getting to the storefronts. So like that is putting them in the ground.
Yeah.
The scary part is Luke's on a grand jury. Can you believe that?
They're not allowed to talk about it. Not allowed to talk
I
about
know.
it.
You can say you're on a
You got
grand
a
jury.
grand
You just
jury,
can't
you're not
talk
allowed
about
to
the grand
talk about
jury.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the prosecutor's office are watching right now because they're very well
You
aware
can
of who
say
I
you're
am.
on a grand jury. You just can't say what you're discussing there.
Yeah, I am.
Mike says, "Great show. Thanks for answering my questions, Pop. Have a great night."
Thank you, Mike.
Because
I'm
I
going
was
home.
very Isaac. It was kind of surprising that the all of the prosecuting office knows who I know.
Right. Surprising, right? All right. And then love to see family camaraderie. Good show, guys. Dad's out. We're out too.
All right.
Good night, everybody. See you
Don't
next
forget
time.
we're loan officers.
Yeah, we are loan officers. If you need a home loan,
tailgate.
give us a call. See ya.
You took my tailgater.
What tailgater? No, that is my friend's. That's not yours. That's
I
Jordan's.
have one just like that.
I know you have one. Yeah,
I gotta
you
go.
have one just like that. All right, bye, guys.